This is Gary Atansi with CNTV, and today we're in Denver, Colorado. I'm here with LifeSpark Cancer Resources. Since 2005, this nonprofit has provided Reiki, Healing, Touch treatments, not only for the cancer patients, but also their care providers. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Let's start off a little bit about yourself. Sandy, if you would share with us how you got involved in this organization.
Well, first of all, I've been practicing Reiki for over 30 years. And I've been practicing Healing Touch for 20 years. And so this is something that's very much a part of me, a part of who I am. I use it every day. And so about 15 years ago, there were a group of us that were looking at how could we support individuals with cancer. And of course, we all practice these therapies and we know how powerful they can be. And so we started this organization together. We started it at a nonprofit called Qual-Life Wellness Community, but then shortly thereafter they closed, and so we started our own nonprofit called LifeSpark Cancer Resources.
Interesting. Nicole, this is basically a part of work every day for you. For many of us, it's something that we realize happens, but not until it happens to our family do we realize it. Was this partnership, tell me how it was brought about.
Well, actually, I was asked and somewhat volunteered myself because of my own interest in the area of Reiki and Healing Touch to kind of be a contact point for LifeSpark and to help them navigate the infusion center, get a workflow down for the practitioners as they were delivering treatments. And from there, it kind of evolved, and the practitioners are essentially independent at this point. I still remain a contact person for them to answer questions and kind of navigate the ins and outs of two organizations working together and answer questions. But for the most part, they're up and running on their own, and I get to watch the beauty that happens in these chairs with both the practitioners and the patients, and also the staff as well.
That is excellent. I mean, we have all been affected by cancer in some way. Some of us directly within our own family, but definitely indirectly. We know somebody who has gone through cancer before. Safe to say that is probably one of the most stressful times in a person's life. Is that true?
I can't talk for everybody, but I would imagine that it is an incredibly difficult time. We see a variety of different patients with a variety of different cancers. Everybody's coping mechanisms and resources are different. So part of our job as a nurse, is to meet them where they're at and just be as resourceful and as helpful as we can possibly be, and just to make sure that they're aware of the resources out there. A lot of times our patients are very overwhelmed when they first enter into this, and it's almost as if they don't know what they don't know. So we like to answer questions. We like to reiterate things and repeat things because oftentimes it's hard to remember what's been told to them. And as with all the other resources that we have, we really try to emphasize that the Reiki practice that we have here is meant for them and to help them navigate this journey and just take, even if it can take just a tiny bit of stress off of them during their treatment, then it's a win.
Definitely so. I mean, the mission of this organization is basically to provide peace and healing during this time. Is that something you've been able to experience in the many years that you've been involved?
Oh, absolutely. And I might say personally as well. I mean, I as I said, I use these therapies every day. They have helped me feel calm and peaceful, helped me sleep better, helped me with digestion, just helped me with better mental clarity. And so these are all things that, that these therapies are available for anyone who uses them. And of course, people going through cancer, I mean, oh my gosh, what they have to deal with, the fatigue, the nausea. These therapies can help them with that.
That is interesting. I mean, there's a wide array of healing arts out there, many different modalities. Why Reiki? Share with us, educate the viewers out there why Reiki is something that you have focused on.
Well, as I said, I've been practicing Reiki for a very long time, but Reiki is something that is very gentle. It's hands-on. You don't have to, it's not like a massage where you have to go in and take your clothes off. I mean, this works right through your clothes. We can offer Reiki or Healing Touch anywhere, in any setting. I mean, here at the Anschutz Cancer Center, people are receiving Reiki while they're getting chemo. So, they're sitting there receiving, and our volunteers come in and offer them this therapy during their chemo.
This is definitely more than muscle work of different modalities. This is actually energy work, the channeling of energy. Is that something that can be quite a bit also for the person that's giving it?
Well, so for a person that is giving the session, I mean, we also are just feeling that peace and calm. And for the person receiving it, I mean, generally they're just feeling like a deep relaxation. And of course, the relaxation, when the body relaxes, all kinds of good things can happen. Everything sort of ramps up, and I mean, Nicole's the nurse here, but everything sort of, the immune system can kick in a little better, and everything can work better when a person is deeply relaxed.
Not only is it a stressful time for the patient itself, but it's a lot of work for the care providers as well. Is it an important aspect that this organization is able to provide their service not only for the patient, but for the care providers as well?
Oh, absolutely. It benefits everybody. From what I see from the patients is when they receive these treatments, I can visibly see them relaxing. They come in kind of in that fight or flight sympathetic nervous system activation, and once the practitioners start their session with them, that parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, the relaxation kicks in, and it's so obvious to us, and we can just see them visibly relax. Vital sign wise, we can see the heart rate go down, the blood pressure go down, and the same for the staff. The providers are always willing to, if they have some downtime, if they don't have currently someone in the chair that they're working on, they'll offer a session to the staff, and it's the same thing. It's just this incredible, peaceful relaxation that helps us get through a stressful day as well. Because as the nurses, our sympathetic nervous systems are kind of amped up on occasion too during this work.
I mean, this holistic approach of Reiki has been around for over 2,000 years. The actual Japanese word is universal life energy. This is a very old, ancient approach that is kind of meshing with modern medicine. Is this a balance that is something that can be respected between both parties?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there are many hospitals, especially on the East and West Coast. They're a bit ahead of us than here in Colorado, that are using these therapies on a regular basis for cancer patients, but for all kinds of situations. So, LifeSpark works with 3 hospitals. We work with the University of Colorado Hospital right here at Anschutz Cancer Center. We also work with Denver Health Medical Center, and we also work with Memorial Hospital out of Colorado Springs. And so, we work as partners with them. We support their patients. We help their patients relax, feel better, and they do the medical side, and we work together.
That is a mutual respect between both going on. The patient definitely has to benefit. I mean, really knowing that they're dealing with the medical side, yet the energy side, and a support. And it's a support team. Obviously, it's a nonprofit. Not just a handful of volunteers, but really over 100 volunteers out there. How does somebody get involved if they would like to be a part of it?
So we do have almost 100 Reiki and Healing Touch volunteers. We actually work all the way from Fort Collins to Colorado Springs. We work out of, I didn't even mention, we work out of 14 Elements Massage Studios, and we work out of several spas, as well as the hospitals, of course. And so people who would like to be involved can go to our website and can sign up. We have a training program. We do screenings, and we do criminal background checks and all of that. And then we have a training program for them after they have to already know Reiki or Healing Touch. Then we train them, and then we place them either in a hospital or we match them with a participant. We basically have 2 programs. We have the infusion center program, where the volunteer comes in and works a certain day of the week. Like, for example, they may come in every Monday for 4 hours and work with whoever shows up, whoever's available, whoever the nurses send to them. And then we have our weekly program, and the weekly program is the one that's sort of along the whole Metro Denver area, and that's where people are matched for a weekly session. They receive a session every week for 8 weeks. And so this is an amazing way to support someone over a period of time. And sometimes, depending on if we have the availability, they will be rematched, so they'll get another 8 weeks. Some people who are in late stage cancer, we want to support them along their journey and help them repeatedly. So we work with them over a period of time, and the weekly program and then the infusion center program, both. So we did a recent informal study here at the Cancer Center where we talked to, our providers talked to 32 participants, cancer patients, and asked them how they were. It was a survey before and after the session, just a simple 15 to 20 minute session. Pain dropped by a third, stress and anxiety dropped by 2/3. And
that is impressive.
And those are just reported outcomes from a very informal survey, but that's it's significant, and it's pretty typical of what people report to us across the board. There are also have been some really well-designed national studies. There was one at the University of Iowa where they worked with cancer patients that had ovarian cancer and showed that they were studying the biological markers of the immune system, and they showed that the immune system basically, during chemo and radiation, the immune system was dropping certain markers. But those who received Healing Touch, it really pretty much held steady. Their immune system held much more steady. That's just one study, but it was a really well designed, randomized controlled trial. And then another one at Harvard, where they were looking at Reiki. And it was a large study. They had over 1,400 sessions of Reiki, and it showed highly statistically significant decreases in stress, pain, depression, sort of all the things that we know these therapies will do. So, and then one final study showed a reduction in the length of stay, hospital length of stay, for patients that had a heart. I don't remember the detail. They had it was a well-designed, randomized controlled trial that showed a decrease in length of hospital stay.
It's very exciting to see the stats like that line up when it's something that you, as a provider, been doing this for years. You know it exists, but it's something to see it like that in a survey. Wonderful. You said it's something you want to bring awareness up. You want to let people know about it and let them try it. 93% have said that it's a valuable service. That's a pretty high percentage.
Yes.
Leave us with a personal story, maybe something that you've heard from someone.
Well, I mean, one of my colleagues was telling me about a participant that she had who came in, and she looked pale and her skin was kind of gray, and she noticed after about the third session that the participant, her color changed, and she looked different. She looked healthier, and when they was asked, well, how are you doing? She said, well, I went to the doctor's office the other day, and initially they didn't even recognize me, and apparently I look so much healthier. So, but people tell us that they feel they can sleep for the first time in weeks. A lot of people will tell us that it gives them a sense of hope, a sense that yes, they can heal, that yes, they can get through this, and that's powerful. That's very powerful when people go, okay, I think I'm going to make it. I think I'm going to get through this all right. And so that's a big part of the stories that we hear.
Really, the art and the science of a nurse being able to see some of these subtleties of changes in a patient. Share with me one story before we let the viewers go about something maybe you've experienced with this collaboration.
It's hard to pick just one. There's so many. Probably the one that I found to be the most profound was we had a patient who was receiving the same treatment numerous times over and over, and she typically had a very rough go during her infusions. She would develop what we would call hypersensitivity reactions. She would develop some anxiety, some pain, some shortness of breath. And these are, of course, signs that can be worrisome to any nurse who's infusing these potent drugs. And it wasn't really clear if it was the drug that was causing these symptoms or if it was her anxiety. Either way, we had to treat it medically as such. And then the Reiki program started here at the infusion center, and one day, one of the providers just happened to be here when this particular woman was getting her infusion. I thought, well, what's it going to hurt? Let's just try some Reiki during her infusion. And luckily, it's a very short infusion. I think it was about 15-20 minutes, which is the typical length of the Reiki sessions for the patients. And so I had the Reiki practitioner do Reiki on her during her infusion, and it was the first time she had received that drug without any symptoms.
That is very exciting to hear. I mean, a great partnership right there that has existed. This is an organization that has survived 15 plus years here. Share with the viewers before we let them go how they can support it, what they can do for this nonprofit.
So, of course, we are always looking for donations, donations of any size, any amount. We're also looking for corporate partners, partners who might want to support an organization that's really sort of in the forefront of what's happening in terms of integrative care in Colorado. Really be part of something that's becoming sort of a movement in a sense, in terms of the shift towards treating the whole person and supporting the whole person in combination with medical care. So corporate sponsorships, corporate partnerships, donations, and then of course volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers of all kinds. Volunteers who know Reiki and Healing Touch, that want to make a big difference and be right there with somebody and walk the walk with them for 8 weeks, or come into the infusion center and be part of a medical setting, or also volunteers who may want to help with marketing or other kinds of ways that they can help us.
That is excellent. Thank you so much for Nicole and Sandy. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. On the website, you can learn more about this organization. Basically began back in 2005, but it even had roots prior to that. They have served the community here. You can check out the website. If you want to be a volunteer, they have a link there as well. A donation link is also. And basically, this is an organization that is providing some peace and healing in a time when most families definitely need it, not only to the patients, but also to the care providers as well. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.